But for anybody who changes his principles depending on whom he is dealing, that is not a man who can lead a nation.
Courage, strength, perseverance, leadership. That is Nelson Mandela. And those qualities have helped WBAI survive for more than 30 years. We need your support more than ever to bring you the voices that few have the courage to broadcast. Call 1-800-828-1700 and make a financial pledge to WBAI. Again, call 1-800-828-1700 and support listener-supported, commercial-free, courageous radio, WBAI 99.5 FM in New York.
How did they get so many people into this room? You can't believe it. There must have been 15, 20 people in this. Well, you've never seen this room. This is not a big room. Hi, I'm Lynn Samuels, signing on the log here as I speak. This is Talkback every Tuesday from 4:30 to 6. And be careful if you go swimming 4th of July weekend. In Muskogee, Oklahoma, a man drowned. This is terrible. I mean, it isn't funny. Timothy John Hudson, 27 years old, of Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, was swimming in Fort Gibson Lake on Friday when his trunks fell off. And he was trying to pull his swimming trunks back on, and he drowned. It is better to expose yourself than to be dead. That's what I say. Well, some people expose themselves in many different ways. Mr. George Bush. We'll get to that. All right, let me tell you what's happening at the summer... I forgot to look in the Village Voice today because there are free concerts at the World Financial Center. And I totally forgot. This week at the Summer Stage, which is in Central Park, at 72nd Street, it's like in the middle. So you can come in either way. Friday night at 8:30 is Rouse Lemon and Muna Sang, okay? Rouse Lemon, I never heard of these people myself, is the contemporary dance world's mythmaker, says the New York Times, and his company present their unique blend of dance theater using elements of narration, music, and visual design. Muna Sang, known for her sparse, emotionally charged movement style, premieres something called Shattered. Okay? Saturday afternoon, when I am going to be at the Gourmet Food Show, I am going to be gorging myself on chocolate and stuff on Saturday for free. And then Saturday night, I guess I'll be vomiting. July 6th, 3 p.m., also at the Summer Stage. Now, I have to tell you something. I have got this obsessive hatred of this performer. Many other people really like him. Marshall Crenshaw for free. Okay, it says, punchy and hard-driving, Crenshaw's music reminds us that life is too short. Well, my feeling would be it's too short to waste my time with him. But that isn't fair. People like him. Known for his tremendously exciting performances. Well, that's not a sentence. They're supposed to be, they have a period where they really want a comma. When I saw Marshall Crenshaw many years ago, he did whatever the exact opposite of exciting was. He just stood there. He was terrible. But many people like him. It's like pop rock, you know. And Blue Rodeo, which I hear is very good. That's this Saturday at 3. And Sunday is Haitian music. Oh, we have to send Annette Walker over there. Sunday at 3 is Haitian music, a group called Zin, which blends compas and Antillan rhythms with state-of-the-art technology, and Fula breathes new life into deeply rooted musical traditions of the Haitian countryside. This is music to move your soul and feet. And that's what's coming up free this week at the Summer Stage. I love to announce free things. Not free, but I saw the best movie. Probably everybody already saw this movie in the movies. But Reversal of Fortune just came out on video. It's the movie about Alan Dershowitz taking on Klaus Van Bülow as a client and getting all Klaus Van Bülow off on the charge of killing his wife. Well, not killing his wife, of putting her into a vegetative coma. But the performances in this movie are so out of this world that you can't believe it. You know what I want to know? Does Paul Wonder have a card? That's what I want to know. Whether Paul Wonder has a card in here for soundtrack. Well, I don't know. If you're listening, Paul, and you have a card, come in and find it. But Reversal of Fortune, it's chilling because the vision of the life. I mean, Klaus Van Bülow and his wife are these incredibly rich people. You know, disgustingly rich, with these totally empty lives. I mean, these people just do nothing all day, you know, so it's sort of not hard to believe that all this woman did was drink and take pills and lie around in bed. That was what she did. Was she drank, she laid around in bed, and that was her whole life. Very, very, very strange movie. Magnificent performances. Just absolutely magnificent performances. Ron Silver plays Alan Dershowitz. And Jeremy Irons plays Klaus Van Bülow. And Glenn Close is Sonny Van Bülow, who narrates them. I never liked Glenn Close anyway. Annabella Sciorra, or however you pronounce her name, is in it. It's a lot of people... I must say, people told me they found it very boring, but I don't know how you could. I think maybe it's one of those movies you have to be in the right mood for, but I definitely recommend it. Okay, we have got a major BAI free event tomorrow, to which I heard Fred Kuhn telling people you better get there early because it is free. The new national order, George Bush's anti-terrorism, anti-crime bill, and the administration's assault on civil liberties. Now, I am not as totally familiar with this anti-crime bill as people like Samori, who I think probably put this together. But it says here, secret trials, arbitrary deportations and imprisonment. The hell with that. Do you know they don't want to let artists come into this country? There's this whole bizarre thing that the Immigration Service is doing that is going to stop dance troupes and actors and artists from even coming into this country. Court packing, death penalty on Native American reserves, rollback of women's rights. This anti-crime bill that Bush has, which among other things makes many, many, many crimes federally punishable by the death penalty, which is this wonderful, sneaky way, of course, to get around states like New York that have no death penalty. This will now be federal. I mean, these people are just so despicable that it is hardly worth even talking about. However, tomorrow, Wednesday, July 3rd, the Independence Day Emergency Forum, from 6:30 to 9:30 p.m., but you should get there early because this is free, at the New School at 66 Fifth Avenue, which is between 12th and 13th Street, in the Parsons School of Design Auditorium. The speakers are William Kunstler, Victor Navasky, veteran journalist. It says, I wish it didn't say that. Nobody likes to be called a veteran anything. Deborah Jackson of the National Conference of Black Lawyers, Ward Churchill, who's a Native American attorney, Judge William Booth from the American Committee on Africa, Reverend Lucius Walker from Pastors for Peace, Palmira Rios, Urban Affairs and Immigration Specialist, our own, as we like to say, Barbara Nimri Aziz, Jinsu Kim from the Center for Constitutional Rights, and Lou Wolf, wonderful person, publishes the Covert Action Information Bulletin. This is free. If you need more information, you can call Samori Marksman at 279-0707 for another 20 minutes, or Patricia Lavasseur at the Center for Constitutional Rights, 614-6438. This is free. It is tomorrow. It is important. I guess we're not broadcasting it. Well, I guess we're going to tape it and put it on some other time. Because the Supreme, I wanted to work my way around to the Supreme Court. First, I wanted to get through this wonderful cable company in Texas that is dropping MTV. Why would they drop MTV? Because, and it's not just Texas, the company is in Tyler, Texas, but it's, I don't know, it affects several states. It's nearly 500,000 people that are going to lose MTV because they say it is borderline pornographic. And as I believe David Hinckley said in the Daily News, have they turned on a soap opera lately? Have they turned on anything on television? MTV has sort of wishy-washy lefty politics, which I think may have a lot to do with. But, the other question, of course, is if people don't like MTV, do they have these televisions? Are they now selling televisions where you can't change the channel or turn it off? Don't watch. That's what I say. As if we don't have enough to worry about. This was in the New York Times several weeks ago, but I can't plow through anything in the Science Times. I just can't. So there is in San Juan Capistrano, California, where the swallows come and go. They are having a scientific conference. The International Now, how do you like this for a name? There was somebody who wrote to me who I meant to thank on the air, and I told her, did I thank you all last week? Everybody who wrote to ABC, I certainly meant to. And everybody who's writing to thank John, now people are writing to thank John Minnelli for getting me back, and, people writing to me. And I can't answer everybody. I'm sorry. I really am. I'm lazy. But, here I am now on 2 radio stations and in a laundry. They are having what is called the Conference on Near-Earth Asteroids. Now, what's near Earth to them, it's pretty far out to us. But an asteroid in 1989 crossed the Earth's orbit at a distance of 400,000 miles. And that's very close. I know 400,000 miles. Oh, the phone number. I was going to say the phone number for people who don't know it by heart is 212-279-3400. So the fact is while we're sitting here, maybe we'll be lucky. And before Clarence Thomas, gets to be a Supreme Court justice, we'll all be killed because an asteroid will bang into the Earth and we'll all be dead. Well, maybe that'll be better. Who knows? The rate everything's going. They think an asteroid killed the dinosaurs. Mario's lurking again. The microphone is on, so even when you're whispering, they hear this funny little sound. No! He's taping something. Attention, morning producers. Oh, I don't have to read that. I don't even get up in the morning. So, if this asteroid that didn't hit anything had hit northeast Los Angeles or Tokyo, millions of people would have died in a blast equal to between 77,000 or 192,000 bombs the size of the atomic weapon that destroyed Hiroshima. Now, of course, the fact is that what they want, they want to put like nuclear weapons and rocks aside. They want a lot of money to stop this. Obviously, this is going to be a random event. Therefore, you might as well forget it. Just forget the whole thing. We'll be talking. Did you see Failsafe, one of my favorite movies from the 50s or the 60s, where we accidentally bomb Moscow. And then Henry Fonda, he's the president. Lee Remick died, by the way. Lee Remick died today. So it's Michael Landon and Lee Remick. And we're waiting. Who's number 3? And Howard Cosell's going back for more cancer surgery, so who knows. Oh, but the end of Failsafe. So Henry Fonda, to prove to Russia that it was a mistake that we bombed Moscow, decides that we ourselves will bomb New York. And, of course, his wife is there, and he likes her and everything. And the end of the movie is just as horrifying. It's all these, moving pictures of people in New York and freeze frame. And that movie, when I was like, oh God, that movie scared me to death. It really did. It was so scary. What, did he steal the pen too? How can I sign out? Oh no, I'm holding the pen. Sorry. So, now, talking about random events. You want to hear a random event? This is for all the conspiracy theorists out there. We could talk about the city budget, couldn't we? Oh, and the Gay Pride Parade. I was wandering around in the morning. They had a big street fair. And I just happened to come upon the BAI booth. I got my special Gay and Lesbian Pride Weekend t-shirt. During July, undercurrents will often be on tape. If they don't show up, don't panic. Oh, that's a little note from Robert. What's a vacation night? So the only thing I have to say about the Gay Pride Parade is I would like to give an award for crass commercialism to the people who had a booth that said, wash your hair with Pride. Pride shampoo. Give me a break. There's no gay shampoo. And my favorite booth, of course, always is Mirth and Girth, which is like fat gay men. They were selling kisses. I didn't buy kisses because I only had so much money and I had to pay money for my BAI t-shirt, and I ran into some great jewelry. All right, so here's a random event. This was like one of these 2-inch little things in the Times. Pasadena, California, June 30th. Just by accident this happened, everybody. A man who was a witness to the videotape police beating of Rodney G. King Jr., remember that? Was killed Saturday when a car the man was riding in hit a telephone pole, the police said. The man, Freddie George Helms, 20 years old, was also a passenger in the car being driven by Mr. King. This is a man who should have gone out and bought his own car. Now, he was a passenger. They arrested the driver, and they claimed that the driver of the car that just happened to kill the witness to the police beating was driving 75 miles an hour on a city street, which was 40 miles over the speed limit. Oh, give me a break. Right. I got the Realist. Thank you. 2 people sent me the Realist with the article about Kennedy's assassination, and somebody sent me a copy. Now, the place I got it was Hudson News, which is, oddly enough, not on Hudson Street. It's on Broadway, right below 8th Street. It's on the west side of Broadway, and it's just about 3 doors in, going downtown from 8th Street. It's called Hudson News, and it's not easy to find. It's all the way in the back on the bottom shelf, like buried amongst things, the Realist. But interestingly enough, I mean, I get hung up with the fact that this article about the Kennedy assassination and George Bush, these accusations that George Bush was in the CIA many years before he became director, there was, as I recall, during the presidential campaign, something came out that there was another guy named George Bush that was in the CIA, which the person who wrote this doesn't seem to know. But then yesterday's page 6 of the New York Post, which somebody left in the garbage in the laundromat, although now I have to read all the papers again. Mark Lane was hired himself or something to be Lee Harvey Oswald's lawyer in the few days before just accidentally Lee Harvey Oswald got killed. And Mark Lane has been an assassination theorist. He was also the lawyer for the guy who, I can't even remember the name now, the guy who killed Martin Luther King, trying to get him out. And Mark, who is my cousin, my mother keeps saying, stop telling people that, but I'm proud of Mark, has a book coming out shortly called Plausible Denial, which will be coming out when? I have to get a hold of this publisher. Mark Lane defended The Spotlight, which is published by the Liberty Lobby. This is amazing because E. Howard Hunt, the Watergate burglar. See, this is why I have trouble with this. Lenny Lopez did this great interview with this guy with this whole theory of dyslexia. And I mean, I know the guy has like a self-interest because he runs a clinic or something, but I swear to God, I think I'm dyslexic. I think that's been my whole problem. Apparently, you can have different symptoms of dyslexia, most of which I have, One of which is that you can't remember anything. And you can't tell left from right, which I can't. The book is called Plausible Denial. Thunder's Mouth Press is going to be publishing it. I will get Mark Lane. I don't know why they're here or there. I'll get him somewhere. Mark is the easiest person to interview. All you do with Mark Lane is you tell him how long to speak. And then you just sit back and listen. Proving... Now, what happened is the Spotlight, this vile, anti-Semitic, slimy newspaper, published an article by former CIA agent Victor Marchetti. Why is he writing for this paper? That said the same thing, actually, that it says in The Realist, that E. Howard Hunt was in Dallas on November 22nd, 1963. You younger people that are not into this have to excuse me, because we old people here, man, I am obsessed with this. Although I've still never read Contract on America. I just started it again. That's the one that proves that the mob killed Kennedy. And Hunt originally won, you know, for slander or libel or something. And then Mark Lane took over, defending the Spotlight in the hopes of proving that the CIA killed Kennedy. And he seems to have satisfied himself that he's done it. So we have to keep an eye out for this book. I don't know where Thunder's Mouth Press is located. If anybody does, please let me know. And we can follow on this conspiracy theory. All right. I have a few more minutes in my part of this show. If anybody's interested, I'm going to be on for about 10 minutes on Friday with Bob Grant at 4 o'clock, or, you know, after the news. Just plugging my new show there. So if you want to hear, I mean, talk about the odd couple. I mean, I love Bob. You all know I love Bob, and you've been yelling at me for years for loving Bob. But what can I do? You know, and then Saturday I'll be on ABC from 10 to 1. But at 12, you have to tune in to Scott Sommer. You know, I do. Monroe is a pain in the neck, but I really do feel bad, you know, telling people turn off BAI. What can I tell you? Okay, so Thurgood Marshall resigns. Grandson of a slave. A man who really helped change America. And did you hear that press conference Thurgood Marshall had? The best thing about him was the contempt he had for the idiotic questions the press asked. I loved it. You know, when you're 82 years old, you can be as nasty and contemptuous as you want, you know, because what are they going to do, you know, fire him from his job? And everybody sits around. Is George Bush going to nominate a black person? Is George Bush going to nominate an Hispanic? Well, would you tell me what difference it would have made? I mean, what difference does it make that this guy Clarence Thomas is a black person? You know, it's like, oh, pardon me, every black person has exactly the right politics. Every black person is going to help everybody and, you know, be a wonderful person and improve society. I mean, you know, the whole discussion up until yesterday was so idiotic. Because you know that anybody George Bush nominates to the Supreme Court is nobody that I or, you know, 90% of you are going to want on the Supreme Court. You know, I mean, he could have nominated, you know, he probably could find, I don't know, you know, a gay, lesbian person with a disability, black dwarf, something, you know, and they'd still be a right-wing scum. So, I mean, why did anybody even discuss the race? And then, of course, the wonderful cynicism. You know, the respect George Bush has for the intelligence of the American people. I didn't nominate him because he was black. I mean, just out of every judge and every lawyer and every human being in the United States of America, it just so happened that the most qualified person was this black right-wing guy. I mean, it was just like a total accident. Really, George, you know, we're stupid. But we are not that stupid, George. You know, if Sandra Day O'Connor, you know, when she dies or something, they're just going to accidentally find a woman. I mean, and people swallow this. Remember that thing, I forget, when Reagan was president and the Russians had some guy they said was a spy for us, and we had some guy that we said was a spy for them, and we just happened to release them both at the same time, you know, and Reagan kept saying, Well, no, one thing has nothing to do with the other. Give us credit, for just a minimal amount of brains. So this guy, Clarence Thomas, of course, is against affirmative action. He was the person, the Times today was interesting. He let lie fallow. He ran the, what is it called? The civil rights, I don't know, something for Reagan to do with civil rights. He was the one, he got a lot of flack then. And there were a lot of age discrimination suits, one of which he managed to let IBM, which I'm sure is a wonderful organization, win. And all the other age discrimination suits, he just sort of let the time lapse on them and nothing ever got done. So, you can see exactly where this guy's coming from. But the most disgusting part of it is the most cowardly, craven, vile people on this earth are liberals. They're worse than at least a conservative you can look at and you say, ugh, we know what you are, honey. Liberals, who are worse because they have pretensions, but they're just as bad. They're worse because you sort of look at them and think maybe they're going to be all right, but they're not. They're going to confirm this guy. You know it, because you're never going to get a bunch of white liberals to go after a black guy. You see, this is where some elemental reverse racism or something, they should take this guy and they should tear this guy apart. They should tear him apart. But then they're going to say, oh, how can I do that? Then all the black people won't like me. Well, every black person isn't the same. So, I think they ought to just rip this guy to shreds. All right. 279-3400. Let me just plug a book, which I haven't read yet. But these are actually a lot of rewritten things from 7 Days Magazine. My favorite columnist in 7 Days Magazine was Media Person, whose real name is Louis Grossberger. And 7 Days Magazine, became defunct. And Louis Grossberger is now writing for some advertising magazine. It's not something you can easily get your hands on. So a book of rewritten and updated columns from Media Person, if you were into this guy, just came out. It's called Read My Clips. Media Person cuts up Louis Grossberger. It's Random House. It just came out. Oh, my God. It's expensive for a paperback. $12. My goodness. 203 pages. Get it out of the library. I'm sorry. He's a neighbor of mine. I keep thinking I probably know this guy. Maybe he comes to the laundromat. But this guy is really, really funny. Maybe go in with it with 3 or 4 other people, because I'll tell you, I don't think it's going to take long to read. How can a paperback cost $12? My God. Oh, well, actually, your best-selling things cost $6 now. All right, so, this guy is really funny and really witty, and maybe I'll interview him over there. They don't want me to interview people over there either. So all, the movie companies, everybody's so excited. They think they're going to get me to do interviews, not knowing that I like to take phone calls and listen to myself speak. It is just coming up on 5 o'clock. This is WBAI in New York. And I'm Lynn Samuels. This is Talkback. This program is on every day, Monday. Well, no, it isn't really. It's on 4 days a week from 4:30 to 6. And Monday is Malachi McCourt, and Tuesday is me, and Wednesday is Malika Lee Whitney, and Thursday is Place L. Benjamin, the Unique. And Friday is Joe Hurley's Arts Magazine. So you can listen to people talk. Don't forget tomorrow at the New School. Let me just say this one more time before I start taking calls in case I forget. 6:30 to 9:30 about this despicable anti-crime bill. Oh, God, I want to talk about Florio and there's no smoking in New Jersey. See, now I get to, save things. Or just... I was sitting this week saying, well, should I do this Tuesday or Saturday? Because there's never enough time. Okay, at the New School, 5th Avenue, 66 5th Avenue, between 12th and 13th Street at the Parsons School of Design Auditorium. Tomorrow night, this is free. It's done with BAI and the Center of Constitutional Rights. Speaking will be Lou Wolf, publisher of the Covert Action Information Bulletin, Jin Soo Kim, Center for Constitutional Rights, Barbara Nimri Aziz, our Arab-American journalist from here, Palmyra Rios, from the Urban Affairs who is an Urban Affairs Immigration Specialist, Reverend Lucius Walker, Pastors for Peace, Judge William Booth, American Committee on Africa, Ward Churchill, a Native American attorney. It's easier to read this loose paper in front of me. Deborah Jackson from the National Conference of Black Lawyers, Victor Navasky, who is a veteran journalist, and William Kunstler, who is not my favorite person. It starts at 6:30, and Fred Kuhn has been telling everybody calling switchboard to make sure you show up early. It's 5:01. I'm sorry I took a minute of your time. Hi. You're on BAI. Or not. Oh, is this broken again? Hello, hello? Well, maybe that line's broken again. You're on BAI.
I have a couple of short words over here, and I'll leave you alone when you get over there, okay?
Well, you can call me I don't care.
So when you're making a living, usually I don't ever bother you when you go out there. I don't do that because that's really not for me, because you have to say things out there to make a living, so I usually leave you alone. But I have to let you know about something here that you probably don't know. Or you do know, because we travel the same ways as far as the dial is turned. You know, but maybe the other people don't know. But Bob Grant is announcing over and over that he's going to have you as a guest on Friday. So I have to tell you something, although I know you know it already. But Bob Grant is involved in an action instituted by myself and the people per se, black, white, all kinds of people. They will not oppose anything that he says for something filthy that he said on the air, and he refused to apologize for it. The young woman that was killed in Jersey and that was pregnant, he says, I'm glad she's dead and we won't have to feed that filthy fetus that she was carrying. He crossed the line. People were outraged. So they decided, no matter what he says, those who usually call to oppose him will let him slowly twist in the wind. And sure enough, the opposition that he depended on quit. All of them quit. And then he's sitting there. And so today, he said again, there was a car that went up on the sidewalk and killed a pregnant woman yesterday. Sure enough, today he says, I'm glad she's dead.
Aye.
So I don't want you to do anything, but I just want to let you know. I just want to let you know that, you know?
All right, I'll tell you, maybe I'm only going to be on with him for about 10 minutes. Maybe I'll bring that up.
Uh-oh. Now, I'm leaving it up to you, but I just told you so he won't say...
That's it. See, I'm getting in trouble already, and I didn't even start.
No, I advise you to leave it alone, because I think he brought you on to say, all of my calls have disappeared. And all of your calls are people who listen to you are those who join me to boycott him. And he might say, Lynn, tell the callers to call again. And I just wanted to ask you, Lynn, please don't do it.
All right. God, that really is not a nice thing to say, to put it mildly.
It is terrible. Terrible. Okay, Lynn, thank you. Goodbye.
Okay, bye. Oh, well, I guess we all say terrible things that hopefully we don't mean. Hi, you're on BAI.
Lynn.
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing?
Oh.
7th time you've had the pleasure of talking with me.
I'll be the judge of that.
Oh yeah, I want to talk about advice shows, but you were talking about those contests last week or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think because you're not talking to your boyfriend still, right?
Well, yeah, I would if he would talk to me.
If he'd talk to you, yeah, okay. Because I think you should run a contest to have a surrogate boyfriend, you know.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
He could come and set your VCR and trap your mice and all those kind of things.
Well, I'll tell you, this one, he never could set my VCR either. And he never trapped... Oh, God, I got in the shower today, and there was one of those water bugs. Oh. You know those huge, giant bugs?
Yeah, they look like spiders.
Yeah, oh, God, I'm so glad I wear glasses, because my glasses were off. And I couldn't really see how disgusting it was. So I got it on my little dustpan, and I put it right in the toilet and flushed it.
Boy, you could have been in the shower and you could have felt it crawling down your back.
Oh, no. Oh, but you know what I wanted? Where did they come from? Like, where was it before I was in the bathtub? Oh.
Well... Now let me ask you one thing.
Yes.
Because you did this a tryout. You did it. I didn't have the pleasure of hearing it, but I gather you did it like a tryout on WOR a couple years ago, where you were supposed to be like offering advice or something.
Yeah.
I didn't laugh when I said that.
I know, but I did when they told me to do it. I said, like, I can't run my own life, so now I'll tell everybody else how to run their life.
Exactly. I mean, how comfortable with you with that? And I mean, okay, you have broadcasting experience, but you really have no training and that kind of stuff. Because I hear these right now. I accidentally turned in what used to be Sally Jesse Raphael is now Cindy Garvey.
Yeah, now wait, you may know baseball players. She was married to Steve Garvey. Was he like that ball player that was like sleeping with everybody and?
Yeah.
So
afterwards.
what qualifies? After.
Yeah,
Because,
no, not while he was married to her, but later he was engaged to one person and got 2 other people pregnant at the same time.
you like that, yeah.
But anyway, she's taking the summer doing this advice thing until Deborah Norville comes along.
Yes.
And they're both these empty-headed blonde bimbos, and I'm just wondering, I mean...
Well, Deborah Norville is not going to do an advice show. Deborah Norville, the empty-headed blonde bimbo, is going to do like a news interview show.
Are you sure
That's
not
what they
Faith
said.
Daniels?
That's what it said in the paper. No, it said in the paper they're going to change the format.
Okay, maybe they're gonna. I hope they change the format because this woman that's on now is just like, she's totally self-involved with herself, and the only reason they're using her is because she's a recognizable name. I just wonder how these people can get away with saying, that she's. I mean, these people come up with these. I mean, these problems are real to them. I guess I don't.
Well, and they call up. I've actually been listening a little in the middle of the night, and they call up with sort of legal. Sally Jesse Raphael. They used to call up with things like, "My daughter is getting married, and my Aunt Minnie hasn't talked to my Aunt Flo for 30 years, but they're supposed to sit at the same table." So, I mean, they called Sally Jesse with what to me are silly things. And she used to, but they seem to be calling Cindy Garvey with like practically legal problems.
Well, yeah, it's serious things, and she's not equipped to answer them at all.
Well, I don't know. And I always wonder, like, how liable is the radio station if you give some horrid advice? That's why I was so scared when they wanted me to give advice. Because I thought, well, what if you, like, ruin somebody's life? What if you tell them something and they do it and it's just the wrong thing?
I guess I'm just really sad because it's the people that are doing that are so cynical. You can tell it's just for entertain. All they care about is that these people have high name recognition, that the quality or really what they say in terms of giving advice is just pointless. They really could care about that. I wonder if they've ever thought about that liability problem.
Well, I guess they're not liable. I mean, they must have, I have a feeling they have sort of stringent rules, about just how far they can go. But, the best advice-giving program we don't even hear in New York anymore is Dr. Joy Brown, who's a real psychologist. And she's on the radio, but not on any station. And you can actually hear her do movie reviews on Paul Wonder's program. But she did like a really good program. But she is a trained psychologist, so when she was telling people things, you knew that she at least knew what she was talking about.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't want to give anybody advice. What do I do if I see a water bug? You scream. That's mine. I could just like ruin all of America, instantly.
Okay, well, I'm looking forward to this Saturday.
Okay, take care.
Bye.
Me too. And next Tuesday, I'm in a lot of places. Hi, you're on BAI.
Am I?
Yes.
Hey, great. Trying to call you for years and years and years. Just want to say...
Well, go out and get a job.
Just want to say thanks for making my Tuesdays really, really funny.
Oh, thank you.
Let's laugh a little. If you get a cold or you ever have the flu or anything like that, I've got the cure for you. It's called Ohio Epsonaio. And it's what they use on that show about Alaska.
What is it?
It's the guy that plays the doctor.
Yeah.
Has an this Indian lady that works for him.
Yes.
And he was going through this thing where the whole outfit was down. Everybody was down with the flu. And everything he did came to no avail, and he couldn't get any flu vaccine. And she had this really terrible smelling stuff that the Indians made up, and that's what it was called. And
that was, I didn't watch last night because it was a repeat, and I've seen them all. I love Northern Exposure.
Yeah, and I just want to say the other thing about your talking about, wait, let me give me a second.
Yeah, what is that? That sounds like a tape of me. It sounds like me.
You were talking about what was that thing about the Sunny?
Reversal of Fortune, Klaus and Sonny Van Bulow.
And I was just laughing at you, at your point of view, because you're talking about the reversal of fortune, and Klaus, you're saying reversal of fortune. movie about Alan Dershowitz, and I was thinking to myself, being Afro-American, that'd be like me talking about Robinson Crusoe, the story about Friday. And the other guy.
Well, because Alan Dershowitz, I think Alan Dershowitz is despicable. You want to hear something great? Because this is so much of a lawyer. Self Magazine now has like a new page where some famous person gets to define a word. And in the June issue of self-definition, ethics, which they copy from the dictionary, the discipline dealing with what is good and bad or right and wrong. And Alan Dershowitz wrote his definition of ethics, right? Get this.
Okay.
Can a person who devotes much of his time to defending guilty criminals have a meaningful personal definition of ethics? It may surprise you that despite my profession, perhaps because of it, I spend a great deal of time thinking about the subject. I even teach a course on it. My personal ethics are quite different from my professional ethics. In my personal life, I try my best to be upfront, direct, and non-deceptive. I do not go right up to the permissible line of ethical or legal behavior. I can afford to be generous since I am being generous only with my own self-interests. In my professional life, this guy is skitsy. Where I am someone else's representative, I have no right to be generous about my ethics. I must do everything that is legally and ethically permissible to win every case. That means I must sometimes do things for others that I would not do for myself. As a lawyer, I must try to prevent, by lawful and ethical means. Now leave that out. I'm going to skip that parentheses. As a lawyer, I must try to prevent the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth from coming out if that truth would be harmful to my client.
Yeah, well, there you go.
I must use tactics that are calculated to trick my opponent. I must lay traps. I must try to get the best result for my client, even if that is not the best result for society. You wonder why people hate lawyers? When I represent a client, innocent or guilty, my ethic is to win within the rules of my professional life, but without regard to the ethics by which I conduct my personal life. This cognitive dissonance does not always make for a good night's sleep. What a slime this guy is.
Well, he's right. After I heard that, I won't be able to sleep well tonight.
Yeah, well, I won't either. But, I mean, how can he write this and have it published in a magazine? I mean, I'd be so humiliated and ashamed to admit this.
Then I'm gonna get off the line, let someone else speak it. I just want to tell you one last thing. You're talking about the beautiful and lovely Playfell Benjamin. I was watching the Sunday show one Sunday when he was on. They were talking about the Nancy Reagan book.
Yeah.
Playfell was on, and this is a quote. He said, "Well, I'll tell you this. If I were married to Ronald Reagan, I'd have had an affair with Frank Sinatra too."
Oh, that's it. What show was he on Sunday?
He was no, not last Sunday. It was quite a while ago.
That Jim Jensen?
That Jim Jensen show.
Oh yeah, when every now and then they have to lug a black guy in, just to make it look like they're not racist.
Oh, one last thing about black guys is what you're saying about black people. I just want to let you know that was kind of an exaggeration. Actually, all black people are wonderful, righteous, and fair. Except for one, and that's the one that they sent on. That's the one that Bush nominated.
But he didn't nominate him because he was black. Remember that. Keep that in mind. That had nothing to do with it.
No.
We all know that. We all believe George. We're all reading his lips, aren't we? Thank you.
Thanks for a great
time. Take
time.
care. Bye. Oh, that's it. It's only Clarence time. I mean, God, how stupid does George think we are? Hi, you're on BAI.
And how stupid do you think I am, calling me a pain in the neck? You can do better than that.
Not and keep our license.
All right, there's a fire engine going by. Okay, look, Lynn, I'm trying to talk some sense with the BAI audience. I mean, I don't know if I can reach you, but if you could just be quiet for a couple of minutes, give me my due.
Should I leave? I'll leave.
The thing is, somebody calls into Malachi McCourt and says to Malachi, what do you think about the field? Now, he had mentioned that he had a bit part in it. You know what I mean? He played a little part in the movie. Okay.
He had a little part in Reversal of Fortune.
He starts laughing and saying, this was just yesterday. He starts laughing and saying, so what? The point is, the poor guy says, well, what's going on? I mean, it's just a simple question. What do you think of the movie?
So again, he keeps laughing. And of course, we knew that he knew that the guy didn't know, the listener who called in. So what am I saying? He then says, well, you apparently didn't know that I was in the movie, so naturally the movie was great. Now, that's the guy asked an honest question, and the fact that Malky McCord, he might have been great in the movie. Maybe Richard Harris was great in the movie. Maybe this was great about the movie, the photography, but maybe the movie wasn't good. So the point is he never answered the guy's question. He never said, well, I saw it the other day, as a spectator, as a viewer, and I didn't like the movie. Or I saw it and I did like it. He could have at least answered the chap's question. Instead, he went on with this game, and that's what I'm getting at. I'm interested in the truth. Now, what am I saying? The other day, Andrew Phillips had a woman on who was with the Pacifica Archives. So I called in because I've been an original subscriber to the station for 31 years. I've been trying my best for the station. And what happened? Yes. He cut me off after I said that I was an original subscriber. And he says, we all know what Monroe will be talking about. When I could have been the one he talked to and said, Monroe, tell us about the great programs that have been on WBAI, the great readings of Joyce, the Attica thing with Dolores Costello, where she was right there when the force was used on the prisoners, those poor people, when they were protesting at Attica. Now, what I'm trying to go on, I could mention Henry Cowles with his Music of the World's Peoples, which was one of the most humane programs. He had the world music on, from music from people from Armenia, from Azerbaijan, from China, from Japan, from the Native Americans.
What's the point, Monroe?
These are programs that are, going to be listening to the WBAI program, Paul McIsaacs, right?
Yes.
I'm going to be listening to that, and I'm going to be listening to you. Then when you go into your 4 commercials, I'm not going to, or 7 commercials, how many? There's millions of them. I'm not going to be listening to them particularly unless there's one of those Stiller and Mara ones, which is so funny about ecology that I've only heard about 100
yes,
times.
Monroe.
But it's still very good. She's in 3B and he's in 3A, and we could...
Yeah, Monroe, you can't...
we could salvage together.
Do you know how to get from point A to point B?
I feel that WBAI was originally and still is the place where the truth and where good people get together.
Yes, Monroe.
And it's not some sort of a meeting place for money making in the sense of advertising.
Do
and
you
so on and so
know
forth.
that
Now,
you
they
know?
did a commercial on that you did. Listen to this. You said, I work in this laundromat for
Monroe!
and then I come on to ABC.
Monroe,
but you never mentioned WBAI. You didn't say, I have a program on WBAI.
Monroe, please, they're not going to...
When you're on WABC, you say, oh, yeah, that crazy cracked up commie lib station, WBAI. I find that's not fair and right. WBAI actually is a fine station.
Except when certain people call and bore every... Monroe, can you wind up so I don't have to hang up on you?
I think you would be a fine person if you gave the program over to either to me or, at worst, Mike Fader or somebody else, one of the people who would like to be on here. And then if you don't succeed at WABC again, then you come back. But I think it's a conflict of interest. You can always call. You do call Mike Fader. You see my point?
Goodbye. I would like to say goodbye. Monroe, send a demo tape to Monroe, goodbye. I can't take it. Well, good. We hung up. Some staff member, who I won't name, just walked in. We have these Q-tips that we clean the heads on the tape machines with, but they're very long. They're very long. They only have the Q-tip thing at one end, and some staff member, who shall go unnamed, just walked in with them stuck in his ear. Monroe just never knows when to stop.
Hello?
Hi, you're on BAI.
Hi, Lynn.
Hi.
I sent you a poem. I don't know whether you remember it or not, because I know you get tons of mail. It was called Between Iraq and a Hard Place.
Didn't I read that?
I
lost it. I do one of two things with the mail. I either read it or I lose it. I remember it.
Okay, I would like to know if you would not destroy my life and let me read something. It's approximately 3 pages.
Oh, no, that's much too long.
You really think so?
Yes.
It's very topical. Extremely
topical.
Topical.
It's too long. It really is. It's too long.
Can I send it to you?
Yes. Yes, you certainly may.
I tell you the name of it.
Yes.
Tear Gas Stations of the Cross.
Oh.
And it speaks about the Grumman theatered stars that, like John Wayne, Ronnie Reagan myth, fall from the heavens.
Okay, send it to me, but 3 pages is too late.
I know, on the air, and I know you've got a lot of people waiting to get on, so I'm going to get off. But, Lynn, I think you should see it. I would like you to share it with Mr. McCourt and his brother, Frank.
Okay.
And if you would, I will send it out to you as soon as possible.
Okay, and it was, let me tell you, it's a pleasure hearing your nice, calm voice after Monroe's frenetic voice.
Well, you got bombasted the first minute you got on the air, and I just want to let you know, I think many of your listeners really appreciate you, because I can tell when I try and get on the air here, if calling from New Jersey is like calling through the Sea of the Dead. You know, you can't get through. So I love you, and I think many, many people do.
You.
So you can't don't criticize yourself too much if you make a few suggestions to people, and they're not always taken in the spirit that you give to them, because your heart's in the right place, and most everybody knows that.
Thank you. Take care.
God bless.
Bye-bye. You know, everybody says, like, don't put yourself down, but I've been watching Joan Rivers, who I just like better. I have never seen a woman so gorgeous, so famous, so rich, put herself down like that. I mean, it is amazing. She talks about how ugly she is, how stupid she is. You know, I mean, constantly. She makes me sound like the most egotistical person on the face of the earth. But the one thing she would never come on the radio with me. Hi.
Hi, Lynn, yeah.
Oh, you're buzzing.
It's a cordless phone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, first of all, the last thing we need is another fascist in the Supreme Court.
Well, who did they think George Bush was going to nominate?
Hey, listen, I mean, he could have,
I mean, this illusion.
held the motto for all I care.
Yeah, but I mean, this illusion that if he nominated a black person, it was going to be somebody we liked. I mean, so it would be a right-wing black person, which is what it is. I mean, people are so dumb.
Yes.
They're really silly sometimes.
That's not what I called.
Why'd you call? Because Lee Remick and Michael Landon died.
No. Well, I'm glad you mentioned that. Well, actually, since we're talking about race, I want to talk about something that was on Oprah Winfrey yesterday.
Okay.
Okay, she had on people who are members of this exclusive dating service. But get this, the dating service, is for people who would like to go out with members of another race.
Okay.
Okay? They had one woman who, not the woman who runs this dating service, one of the women who's a member, she said that she would never, a black woman, she would never go out with a black man. People in the audience were asking her, well, if you found an intelligent, successful black man, would you go out with him? You know, if he asked you out, would you go out with him? She said, no, I don't find black men appealing to me. I just find them, they're just a turn off for me, you know? And I wouldn't degrade myself by dating one of them.
Wow.
I'm like, okay. And they had a group of girls in the audience who were members of a sorority or something. And they were like, honey, she wants to be white, this woman. They had one guy, a black guy, who dates white women, who said, called him weak and a wimp. They had a white guy on there who only dates black women. He's like, he's cool. I would go out of my way to go out. One of these girls said, I would go out of my way to go out with this guy, the white guy. Okay, and Oprah was like, well, you think the black guy's a wimp and weak because he's dating a white woman, but you think the white guy's cool because he's dating a black woman. I don't see the double standard here.
But you know what the problem is? First of all, there's enough racial tension without this garbage.
No.
And secondly, these are people's, personal opinions. I'm sure there are. I'm sure there are black men who don't want to go with black women and black. But everything, once you put it on television, people start thinking it's some universal thing. I mean, it's these people, and they have individual opinions. There's people that like short women, tall women.
Exactly.
They have special personal ads for men who just like fat women.
Oh, I've seen some of those.
Yeah, so, it's like that gay men's group that I like, Mirth and Girth, But somehow people project this into some meaningful thing. I mean, what you're dealing with is first of all, these television shows, that how they come up with 5 of these imbecilic topics a week is beyond me.
Another thing, you have cable TV, yes?
Yes.
Okay, they have a new channel which started, I think, yesterday or Sunday.
Yeah, I can only
TV.
I can only hear the new channels until I get my new box.
Oh, okay.
Which is next week.
They have this new one called the Court TV.
Yes, I have. I'll tell you, I was just talking about that. I don't like seeing real things on television. Television is for fantasy, as far as I'm concerned.
That's what soap operas and
and Mr. Ed.
Cosby and all these other shows.
Yeah, Mr. Ed, that's what I want. I don't want to watch real trials.
Yeah, well...
I think it's creepy.
I just had it on this morning or yesterday, and they had this trial, or parts of a trial, of this man who, after 20... the trial there's a retrial after 25 years. He was on trial some 25 years ago for killing his former mother-in-law. And his son was the one responsible for reopening the case because he's a cop, he's a detective for I think Fort Lauderdale, somewhere in Florida. He's a detective for this, for the police department for this particular city. And he reopened the case,
What's the
after
point?
20 some odd years. And, oh God.
I mean, I think that young people in particular have a much harder time than old people like me telling reality from fantasy and putting things like this on television. I mean, I don't know what effect it's going to have, but I have a feeling it's not going to be a good effect.
I mean, there's so many
it makes this appear to be entertainment when these are really tragedies in people's lives. My neighbor was saying they had some rape trial on. These are tragedies. People's tragedies.
They had a rape trial. This guy was a big
all right, please. You don't have to explain the whole thing. People's tragedies should not become other people's entertainment. There's something very immoral about that.
No, because this goes back to what's his name, Steinberg. It was like every
when they had enough about. I wouldn't watch that. I mean I have no desire to.
My mother was outraged.
Yeah, they interrupted the soap operas. I know, they interrupted the soap operas for the real soap opera.
Who cares?
Well, it's not who cares, but there has to be a line between news and entertainment. And these are horrible things. Women have been raped. People have been murdered. This is not entertainment. It isn't.
It's somebody's life here.
That's right.
It's somebody's life or
and I wonder if the people involved in these trials...
tragedy and blah, blah, blah. And
I think it's very immoral.
Not because of this, because somebody screwed up with my credit card, but we won't get into that.
No, we won't, because we're moving on.
Okay,
Take care. I'll talk to you next week or Saturday or whenever. Hi.
He gets more frightening as I get older.
Well, since you pointed that out, maybe it has to do with you.
No, because, see, what he fails to understand is that had the law been enforced, Lisa Steinberg would be alive, and so would the 300 other children that were beaten to death during the month that the media consistently went on and on about this one particular case. 300 children were beaten to death during that amount of time.
Yes, but we all know why so much attention was paid to Joel and Lisa and Hedda. We all know why. Because they were white middle-class people. That's why.
Upper middle-class people. Upper middle class.
All right.
But as I said, he gets extremely frightening as he gets older, as I get older. But anyway, in regards to the lady from New Jersey, as a fellow New Jerseyan, let me say this. I'm glad that you did not give the advice, not because I dislike you, but because when, quite truthfully, you would get in trouble and you would give the wrong advice, you would hurt people. And there was a black psychiatrist on a local New Jersey station who is well-known and a female, and she gave out the wrong advice, and a young lady ended up taking her life. And her show was immediately yanked off the air indefinitely.
Is this recently?
No, this happened back around about, I think, 84, maybe 83.
Well, what is the liability? I mean, I never understood. There was a time around then when there were psychiatrists and psychologists on radio every 2 minutes. You don't hear much of that anymore.
No, all you hear now is the hate. But
I mean, I do wonder what the liability is.
I'm sorry that Bill had to open his mouth and inform you of that. I was hoping you would walk into that one and just put your foot in it. But let me just say this. You have consistently told people that Bob Grant, I believe, is putting on an act. Is that the line that you've always given people? No, I have
never said Bob is putting on an act, but people in commercial radio refer to what everybody on commercial radio does as their act. You know, your liberal act, your conservative act.
In other words, then he is speaking the truth.
I have no idea. I really don't.
Okay, well, let me
I think
that
another
fact about your friend Bob Grant. Did you know that your friend Bob Grant, back in 1974, was going into the black and Latino communities offering teenage girls between the ages of 13 and 15 $500 if they would sign a contract to go to the hospital and have themselves sterilized.
I do not.
The Bob Grant program.
I do not believe that, not for 1 minute. Okay.
Well, what about, let's see, this other incident? I believe where he called the Miss America, the recent one from Haiti, some kind of a grotesque pig.
Well, I guess he didn't think she was pretty.
And I think he even made an ethnic slur about where she comes from. And the fact that perhaps she would be using the animals for some type of voodoo worship.
Look, you have to understand something. You know, and you of all people, and people who listen to BAI, people in America have the First Amendment. People are allowed to say what they want.
Let me say something to you.
There are things said on this radio station that offend people also.
They want to do. Secondly, please don't try to tell the people on this station or any other station, I'm some BAI nut who believes in whatever the station is supposed to be practicing. I'm my own person with my own thoughts and my own beliefs. And I also
And so am I, so stop telling...
By any other name and by any other definition is still hatred.
Well, stop telling me what Bob Grant says. I wouldn't have said what he said, you know? But that's what he says. This is America. And nobody understands that. Everybody believes in free speech exactly for the people that agree with them. You know, very few people seem to understand what the concept of free speech. It means you have to listen to stuff that you wouldn't say or that you don't agree with. There's nothing wrong with that. Hi.
Hello, Miss Samuels?
Uh-oh.
I'm an African-American male calling from New Jersey, and I just want to say it is always refreshing to hear you.
Oh, thank you. Usually when people say Miss Samuels, I'm about to get blasted.
No, you don't have to worry about that. Let me tell you something right now. George Bush's appointment of Mr. Clarence the Tom is nothing short of a great big slap in the face to almost every African. And let me tell you something. You made a very interesting point about the Senate Judicial Committee, which is dominated by many liberals. I would only hope that the committee members don't look at him as just being black. I hope they see him for what he is. I was just reading an article about the man in the newspaper today, and I got nauseous. I really did get nauseous. You know, I had a feeling that something was wrong with Clarence Thomas when first he got an endorsement by Patrick Buchanan, and then got another endorsement by William J. Bennett.
Yeah, well, those are two good signs that we don't want this guy on the Supreme Court.
I don't care if he's plaid. If he's getting by either one of those two, something is definitely wrong. And I was just thinking to I would hope that the Senate Judicial Committee, particularly the members who are progressive-thinking Caucasians, would just see beneath that something that looks black and see that this person is just as... fascism in any color is evil. It's wrong to anybody. I don't care. I'm an African-American male, and I would hope that the black people in this country realize that. In fact, Thurgood Marshall even said it. Thurgood Marshall, when they were asking him in the press conference that you referred to earlier today, they said that, how would you feel, would it be right for George Bush to appoint another black person? And Thurgood Marshall said no. He said, look, a white snake and a black snake, if either one of them bites you, it's still going to hurt you. And Mr. Bush maybe he went out of his way or what, but he went out and got himself the biggest, blackest, deadliest snake he could find, and now he decided to put it on the Supreme Court.
That's right. And he's playing into the hands of these white liberals who won't attack this guy the way he should be attacked.
My advice to the white liberals who are on the Senate Judiciary Committee, that when you listen, you're not supposed to look, you're supposed to listen to them. I would only hope that they close their eyes, and they will be convinced. If you just close your eyes and listen to Clarence Thomas, it sounds just like Bork. Do to him what you did to Bork. That's all I hope that would occur, because this man, I mean, to think that he would become on the Supreme Court, I mean, it enough to, I mean, what would it benefit minorities? What would it benefit an African American or African Americans to have an African American who is against civil rights, who has threatened women's reproductive rights, who is against the aged? This man is nothing more.
Well, you know why? Because the Republican, you know, the strategy that Lee Atwater was supposed to be working out before he died was one of their big strategies now is to try to get blacks to become Republicans. You know, this is a major, they have started Republican clubs on campuses. This is a major strategy because it has always been seen that since Democrats are the party of the people, you know, that's where, you know, most the black people want to go is to the Democratic Party. And I'm sure that even though Lee Atwater's dead, somebody is still working on this concept of trying to get a lot of black people into the Republican Party. So, I mean, they're going to say, here he is, here's this guy, he's, you know, a nice conservative, and, you know, plus Bush has to please all the conservatives.
True. All right, I can understand. All right,
I mean, it's all very cynical and very manipulative.
That may sound like a very noble thing to do on the part of the Republicans, but you don't do it by destroying minority scholarships. You don't do it by destroying minority set-aside business contracts. I mean, you want to draw black people into the Republican Party, but yet you have this policy of hostility towards them. I mean, at the same time, with the Rodney King beating, where everyone was chanting down with Gates, which says, I think what happened was terrible, but we cannot let go of Daryl Gates.
Well, I mean, they have the most bizarre thing out there. I still don't understand this theory that the mayor of a city can't fire the police chief. You know, I mean, but whatever the law is there where the mayor couldn't even fire him.
Well, under Los Angeles,
I mean, they're in like some of the planet out there.
The city police department, from what I understand, because I have a friend of mine who's a criminal justice major, the police officers in the city of Los Angeles are not appointed by the city, they're appointed by the county. You see, it's a county.
But it's very weird. But also, Spy Magazine printed, this is even worse than Daryl Gates practically, the guy right under Daryl Gates, whose name escapes me. Spy Magazine printed this first, but it's in this week's Newsweek. That guy is some kind of born-again Christian, the next in line after Daryl Gates, who wrote a little pamphlet for his church saying that women must do whatever men say, that men are the bosses, it says in the Bible, even in physical relations. I mean, they're all nuts out there. You know, they are really off the wall. Daryl Gates is next in command. These people are totally insane as far as I'm concerned.
That man who's underneath him, you see, first of all, there's nothing wrong with the Bible, but people will manipulate scriptures and manipulate certain passages. So that piece of pamphlet that he was written, again, well, listen, you know, all through history, people have used religion to justify their own little heinous acts.
Oh, the most horrid things in the world have been done in the name of religion.
No, I mean, so...
I wish Christ would come back. Oh, and get a cable channel.
You know,
but that'd be great, all Christ, all day.
But I mean, but disappointment here with Clarence and Tom. Let me tell you something about George Bush. We have to tell you something about George Bush. Unlike his predecessor, this man is crafty, and he's clever, and he's resourceful, and he feels by pointing this person up, somehow or another he's going to boost his own support. Believe it or not, Lynn, this guy is further to the right than Bush. I mean, I read Bush's record. I mean, in '68, he did favor the Fair Housing Act.
Oh, and he used to be for abortion, too. He used to be pro-choice.
I mean, this man, he's very much his father, Prescott Bush, because I even have in my own family, even though I'm from New Jersey, my mother's originally from Connecticut, in my own family there are black Republicans. However, they're very moderate. That means being right of center. That doesn't mean backing Jesse Helms. This is and even Prescott Bush, his father as a congressman was a very moderate Republican. And And what
No,
happened-
George Bush is really evil. I mean, it's this whole connection with the CIA and everything. I have to move on. You're wonderful.
Okay, but
But
keep
there
up
are
the
all
good
these
work.
other people.
Enjoy listening.
Okay.
Take care now.
Thank you. And anyway, I know what it costs to call Old New Jersey. It's an arm and a leg, as they say. Hi.
Hi, my dog is barking. Oh, God. Listen, Lynn, I'm very happy for you, and I'm happy for me that you're returning to the WBAC.
Thank you.
Because I'm one of these people that wrote letters. And
Thank you. Thank you. Oh,
I've been writing since since last January.
thank you. I'm sure that all those letters had something to do with it.
Yeah, but that's why I'm calling you. I'm wondering, I didn't hear last week's program, so I was wondering, do you have any theories why Fred relented? Because you said that he said that you would...
Well, I guess, the light bulb lit up over his head, and he said, gee, she's great. I don't know. I mean, I'll tell you something. If you follow people's careers in radio or television, they get fired, they get hired back, they go somewhere else, they go back where they were. I mean, Bob Grant, who everybody's been talking about, Bob was fired from every station he worked at in New York. Yeah. He was fired from MCA, he was fired from OR, he went back to one of the, the only place he's never been fired from ABC. Who knows?
Because getting back to the first call, my feeling was when I heard that promo that you said, "Hi guys, I'm back."
Yeah.
Was why they were rehiring you is because ABC has seemed to lose all of its black listeners, and I listen to Joy Behar some of the time, and I never hear no more about black people. And
I mean, you don't hear people identify themselves as black. That doesn't
I'm talking about the
necessarily.
voice. I mean, it seems to be all white.
I don't know. I mean, that's another thing. This idea that there are black radio stations and white radio stations, which I guess, from a marketing point of view, there have to be. Black stations and white. I mean, believe me, when I was not working, I tried to get a hold of LIB. I said, I don't know, maybe I could be the affirmative action person at LIB.
Oh yeah.
Do they have any white hosts? I mean, obviously the answer is, well, did WOR or ABC have black hosts? Why would they hire me? But I figured I would take a shot at it.
Yeah.
They never called me back.
Yeah. So you have, but they never. They just said.
They just called me up and told me I could do the Saturday show. Believe me, I never, when I was there before, and not now, I don't know what goes on in that office. I don't want to know. I like to be on the radio.
I know.
And all that
you're
happens...
pessimistic about it a couple.
Yeah, but all that happens when you get involved in office politics, believe me, I've even learned this here, at BAI, is you just make yourself crazy. You come in, you do your show, you do what you do.
Yeah.
I'm barking back. Your dog wants to be on the radio.
Yeah, listen, what happened to Tony Berger? He's gone.
He's going, where did somebody tell me?
Well, Joy Behar
He's going to Europe or something. He was supposed to go to Europe on vacation for a couple of weeks, and now he figures he'll just stay there for a couple of months.
Really?
He never did that hippie thing, where you go to Europe for a long time. So he's going to Europe. I'm going to move on, all right, because there are all these other people.
Thing, I thought I heard Bob Grant say that you would be on for an hour on Friday.
Oh, I don't know. They told me 10 minutes.
Yeah. Because I thought he said an hour.
Oh, well, I'm the last to know.
Yeah.
All I know is that poor little girl's going to be waiting for me to come to work at the laundromat, so I probably shouldn't.
Good to him, I hope. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Nah, I don't think Bob needs to talk to me for an hour. Hi.
He did say an hour.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, I heard him this morning.
Well, I'm sure, and they told me 10 minutes. I'll have to check in tomorrow with the producer.
I can't wait. I'm going to be tuning in on Saturday, and you're going to go, I'm Lynn, and this is 1208 on WBAI.
Yeah, I'll tell you something. I nearly did that a few times. It's going to be weird. I never made the mistake. Although once when I came back here, I said WABC.
Oh, I think
when I came back here, which infuriated people here. But I'm an old woman. My mind is going, people... It's like I've been working in this laundromat 6 months. Now, believe me, I see the same people drop their laundry off and pick it up every week. There are people that I have seen twice a week for 6 months whose names I can't remember. It's very humiliating. So how can I remember what radio station I'm at?
What are you going to do if they team you up with Barry Farber for a little while?
Well, he's not there anymore.
Okay, well, thanks. And just remember one thing. Get off my phone.
No, I never say that. Not even to Monroe do I say that. Hi, you're on BAI.
We're talking about George Bush.
Oh.
There being two George Bushes. There's a researcher in Chicago named Sherman Skolnick. He gives information over the phone. He says that George Bush founded Zapata Oil Company in 1959 as a front for the CIA. And he claims that was the George Bush. There was not two George Bushes. When this came out, they just wanted to cover for him and said this was not the George Bush. But according to Sherman Skolnick, it was. So if that be true, it would tend to confirm what was said about George Bush.
No, it's possible, because I vaguely remember this about this other George Bush. Is, first of all, the CIA wouldn't confirm that the guy existed or belonged to the CIA because they never do this. Then I believe they couldn't find this other guy. You know, it was all a little murky.
Yeah, I don't think there was any other guy. At least according to Skolnick, it was the George Bush that we know.
Well, I'm going to be interested. This Mark Lane book, you know, is probably going to touch on a few other things, because the article in The Realist connects Bush to the Watergate people and the whole Kennedy thing, so maybe there's going to be something in Mark Lane's book. You see, I read this stuff, and I get so confused. Can you keep track of all of it?
No, but could you tell us again where we can get a copy of that issue of The Realist?
Oh, yes, I can even... Oh, I meant to give the address. I'm sorry.
Thanks, Lynn.
First of all, it's called The Realist. It's the Summer 91 edition. And I got it at a place called Hudson News, which is on Broadway and 8th Street in the Village. They probably don't have anymore. The address of The Realist, it's, we're not supposed to say prices. It's $2. It's The Realist, Box 1230, Venice, California.
Box 1230, Venice, California.
90294.
Thank you very much.
Okay, and what this is the Summer of 91 issue. It's number 117.
Thank you so much.
Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you for reminding me. I should have done that a long time ago.
Thanks, Lynn.
Okay, thank you. Okay, that's that button. Wait a minute. I want to announce this forum tomorrow one more time. As Spike, I want the one that I can read, that I don't have to lean all the way over, but now I can't find it again. Tomorrow, the new national order. This is a forum about George Bush's despicable crime bill. That, I mean, it's going to make everything a death penalty offense. I mean, it is just what you would expect, frankly, except the senators and congressmen either agree with it or never read it. Secret trials, rollback of women's rights, court packing, arbitrary deportation. I mean, just awful. It is being sponsored by the Center for Constitutional Rights and BAI at the New School, 66 Fifth Avenue, which is between 12th and 13th Street. It's the Parsons School of Design Auditorium. Tomorrow night, 6:30 to 9:30. It is free, so you better get there early. Speaking are going to be William Kunstler, Victor Navasky, Deborah Jackson, Ward Churchill, Judge William Booth, from the American Committee on Africa. Why don't they name him to the Supreme Court? Reverend Lucius Walker, Palmera Rios, Barbara Nimri Aziz from BAI, Jinsu Kim, and Lou Wolf, who publishes the Covert Action Information Bulletin. For more information, tomorrow, call Samori. I don't know, what more information do you need? 279-0707 or at CCR, Patricia Lavasseur. 614-6438. Be there. I assume I don't think it's going to be broadcast live because that costs that proverbial arm and leg. I'm sure we're going to record it, and hopefully I'll find out when we're playing it so I get to hear it too, because I'm going to be working in a laundromat. I can't go. Hi.
Hi, Lynn. How's it going?
Okay.
I'm glad you're back on ABC.
Thank you.
I hope that people, especially the males, don't dump on you so much, because they seem to have a propensity to do that, and I don't like it, and I think they do it to you just because you're a woman, and apparently your radio colleagues do it also, and I don't like it either.
Well, let me tell you something.
And what?
What was that in the background?
Oh, And, I don't think that you should engage in it also,
Well,
with some of your radio colleagues.
Well, I don't think I do, but I'll tell you something. A lot of men dump on me, but the fact is the 3 or 4 most vicious calls I have ever had in my life were all from women.
Well, women seem to be their own worst enemies in many fields also.
Catty, that's what it is.
Yeah, but one other thing, Lynn, what kind of nation are we having here? I mean, I can't believe all this bizarre stuff, especially it started with people buying co-ops. All of a sudden they're taking something that they're paying $400, $500 a month for, and then they're paying $1,500 a month for, and then they're running around talking about, oh, look what I got, and I'm going to turn it over for a big profit all of a sudden. Then they elect a moron like Reagan. Then they get in all these wars, and it seems like the mental dexterity of this whole nation is going right down the tubes, and the more people I meet, the more morons I seem to meet.
I agree. You're absolutely right.
I can't believe it. And, and these are people who've gone through college. They have absolutely no compassion for anybody else. And they just buy all these deals that I don't think people would buy if it was presented to them in a different way. I mean, who would buy a co-op? Who could possibly have bought this deal unless they weren't going to crook somebody else?
That's right. But I think what it is fear.
Well, would they be fear? Well,
look at the crime. Now, come on. Look at what's going on in the city.
Well,
people are afraid, so that you wipe out all your compassion.
Well, I think that fear has been manufactured to a great degree, because you got to figure, if people were not afraid, they might not put their money in the banks. They might keep it at home. I mean, every news story you see, they comb the face of the earth for the most horrendous murder of the day, the worst thing going on, and they're really psyching people up. As a matter of fact, I think the TV in general is hypnotic like a drug.
Of course it is. There's a book called The Plug-In Drug.
Oh, yeah, I'm positive.
It's a wonderful book. Well, it's true. I mean, watch a movie. You want to see a really scary, weird movie. Videodrome. When they start putting television sets right inside people. It's David Cronenberg. Do you know the guy that made The Fly, the second Fly?
Oh, well, I think that a TV and some of these people might be better than what's going on there to begin with. It's just like a dearth of, any kind of thinking. I mean, these people, I was talking to a guy, he was a young guy, he was in the Marines for a while, and his logic about, going about his business and say the Mideast is, somebody tells you to go there and you go there. I can't believe that. That's just out of and all these other people are talking the same way. Well, somebody said it, and we're just going to go.
Well, that's how you end up living in a dictatorship.
Well, I think that I see a lot of the similarities with... I lived in a neighborhood where there were a lot of people from Germany at that time, and I can't believe it. It's always been a mystery to me that people were kind of nice people. I thought they were civilized. I thought they came from a background that was not a deprived background, but who could have bought this twisted dream of this Hitler guy, and then believed it for a minute?
Because Hitler used propaganda techniques, or who was the propaganda minister? Goebbels. I mean, and they're using now much more sophisticated propaganda techniques. Yeah, but the thing
is, I think if people are willing to examine some of this stuff logically in their own mind, come on, especially these co-op deals and things, this was something that was sold to people with all this BS and all this salesmanship and hucksterism.
Well, and it worked for a while. People made a lot of money. It did work for a while.
Well, it didn't look like it was going, it just intrinsically, it seemed like a deal that could not have possibly gone through for any amount of time. And
well, the fact is, it's like David Dinkins trying to save himself, keeps saying, nothing is going to stay as bad as it is now. I mean, what was wrong in the 80s with this financial boom is everybody acted like it was never going to end. I mean, don't be stupid. Nothing ever stays the same.
Well, the thing is, I just thought it was fundamentally unsound thinking, and people were, somehow talked out of their money, and we're being talked out of our rights. And the people, then I think we are becoming one of the dumbest, unknowledgeable people of the world of other people of the world. We have absolutely no idea what's going on outside of the beaches of this country. We don't know anything about other people of the world, and
that's right.
No wonder people from other countries are going to come here and take jobs. We're a bunch of dummies.
We certainly are. I'm going to move on because I have time for one more person.
I hope you have Mark Lane on. Because
Yeah, well,
I really
I'm gonna
enjoy
when this.
First to Judgment, and I'm sure he has a lot of other good things to say.
I will when the book comes out. When I can find that publisher, I'll find Mark. Okay. Bye. Or I could find somebody. Hi, you don't have much time.
Yeah, obviously. Well, I can't talk about what I want to talk about, but I'll call back another time.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Hi, you don't have much time. Oh, you have no time. Hi.
Good afternoon, Miss Sammy.
Hi, hang on a second, because they're calling. Yes?
Just because I said Miss
All right.
doesn't mean I'm
Yes, my 6. Wait. I was on the other phone. Yes.
Okay. I spoke to you once before, Felix.
Hi.
Hi, and it's very good to hear that you'll be back on the other station.
Thank you.
And I think you'll have a much wider impact there than you will on this station, because I believe there's a wider audience. But just a couple of things.
In about a minute and a half.
Right. A few calls back, you got a call. The guy was very rough with you. I listened to you a lot. I really hated when you simply sit there and allow people to run over you.
I believe in free speech.
But they are using that to ram their point of view down your throat. You're too considerate, too nice.
Oh, God, tell that to people who know me in real life. They'll die laughing.
Back over to the other place. Remember what happened before.
Yes.
Rules, the office politics, play by their game, do it better, survive, and kick gluteus maximus.
Thank you.
And I will be calling you.
Okay. Thanks, Felix.
Take care.
Bye. Now, can you say anything in a minute?
Hello. You know what? George Bush is very smart. You know who he really wants in? Baker.
On the Supreme Court?
Yes, because this guy is tired of traveling back and forth, and he's a good friend of his, and that's who he wants. This guy, he's putting him up. If he don't get in, or if he does get in, the next one that goes, but he really wants Baker.
Oh.
But Baker is tired because he's been taking all of them pills, from that jet lag and everything. But Baker is his man, because that's why they put up that Spanish guy first and said he's very slick. This guy, he's putting him up as a front. He's hoping he don't get in. And the second of all, maybe it don't make any difference, but this guy is married to a white woman.
Oh, is he?
Yes, his
Well,
first wife was African.
I'm sure Spike Lee could make something out of that. I can't.
But his first wife was African, and he has a son. But this wife he has now is white. And Baker...
Well, believe me, that's the least of this guy's problems. Look, I'm sorry, I have to go because it's the end of the show. I said you didn't have much time. I will be back here next Tuesday, 4:30 to 6, and you all know where else. I really do feel guilty. Talk back every day, 4:30 to 6. Monday, Malachi. Tuesday, me. Tomorrow, Malika. Thursday, Playcell, my favorite. Maybe I'll get to quit the laundromat and listen to Playcell Benjamin. Thank you, everybody, for calling and writing letters and all of that stuff. This is WBAI in New York. It is exactly 6 o'clock, and time now for a report of the day's news.